Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Are Worthy Network. I am so excited today, okay? I'm excited. Let me tone it down. So, for those who don't know, I created the Women Are Worthy Network for us to have a safe space. It's called Women, but we also interview men. We're inclusive, we're not exclusive. So I created this safe space so we can have conversations about life, about things that involve us, right? As women and as a community. So I was so excited because before I lead on to, let me tell you what's going on. So basically, people have been coming up to me complaining about things that's going on in their community and the community that I live in. And I'm telling them, well, do you vote? They're telling me, vote? What you talking about, vote? I said, do you vote? Because, once you vote, you have a voice. So they're telling me, no, I don't vote, Jackie, and on and on and on. So I've been trying to rack my brains. How can I get the message out to them that they need to vote? So let me do a little housekeeping here. If you want to join our tribe, you must subscribe. I'm your hostess with the mostest, Miss Jacqueline Charles. So we have the one and only. When I tell you how things work out for its good. So I met this wonderful, wonderful woman. Her name is Dr. Monica W. Brown. She's a doctor. She's a Ph.D. Dr. Brown is dedicated to social justice. She's a policy researcher and a transformative servant. She goes out there, she uses her service, she's out there educating the masses on that they should vote. She's dedicated her life. This is what she wants to do, and this is what she's doing. When I tell you in the next couple of years, this woman's she's already trailblazing. She's a trailblazer. She's a trailblazer. So without further ado, the Women Are Worthy Network, we want to introduce the one and only Dr. Monica Brown. Her resume is long and strong. We're going to talk about it because I want her to talk about herself, because it's important to know her credentials, where she's come from, where she's at, and what she's doing. Dr. Brown, how are you?
Hello, how are you this morning?
Honey, now that you're here, I am doing phenomenal because we're both here to educate the masses. And I'm letting you know now, whether you know it or not, you're going to be one of my mentors, okay? I don't want to hear no. You're going to be my mentor because I only have phenomenal women around me. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Again, I want you to understand this, Dr. Brown. I am just a facilitator. This is your show, okay? What you say goes. I'm just here just to facilitate the conversation.
So, my name is Monica Wills Brown, and I am a social justice policy research practitioner. And a few years ago, I was working with my mentor, Dr. H. Benjamin Williams, and we were working on some various initiatives that were coming up in the community. And I have a research background, but I also love policy. I love policy. And policy is that thing that impacts the people more so than we realize. And so, but I also love data. And so we had an opportunity through the Center for Common Ground to launch the Cobb County Democracy Center. And so as we began to do it, I said, we need to do a really thorough community landscape, because a lot of times, it's one thing to start an organization. Oh, we need this. But I like to have the research and the data behind it to say, okay, this is really what's going on. This is where the areas of strengths are. These are the areas of weaknesses. This is how much our counties are bringing in. This is how much people are voting. This is how many people are registered, so on and so forth. So when you put all those things together, we were really coming up with the background. And so social justice, policy, those are the areas that really ignite me. I started out as an educator, and once an educator, always an educator. And so for the past 30 years, I've been teaching in some type of capacity. And now that we're in the space of civic literacy, we're learning that people are just not abreast of who their representatives are, what their representative, what they stand for, what are the issues that permeate our community, what issues penetrate your every day-to-day life. So we at the Cobb County Democracy Center, we want to change that. Now there are pockets. I'm not saying that this is 100%, but I am talking about a large amount of people who don't, I mean, we're talking about the basics, just how to look up who your elected officials are. And so with municipal elections upon us, with midterm elections that impacted our county and our state that just passed last year, you know, we're seeing some gaps in understanding just by talking to people. And as a researcher, you always I'm a qualitative researcher, so I love to understand the sense of understanding and knowing and being and how that connects with our community. So fast forward, start pulling some data sets together, and we noticed that on the average, the state of Georgia pretty much votes at 70%, but we were seeing people of color vote much less. And so what we wanted to do was, I mean, and this is who I am, I want to know. So as knowing, I don't want to be the only one to hold on to information. So this is why we're here doing what we're doing, to educate and inform others, and so that we can all be empowered and make decisions. Because when we think about democracy, we're talking about the people, and that's what we're here to do, is support the people.
And see, you know, for my platform, we have this section that's called sharing is caring. And that's what we're doing here. Sharing is caring. You dropped some gems, but wait a minute, you dropped a gem. You dropped a name that everybody needs to know. Dr. Ben Williams. Okay, you dropped a gem. Can you please let the community know who this man is?
So he is a freedom fighter. He has been fighting for the rights of people in various spaces for decades. And I'm just blessed and honored to have the opportunity to learn from someone who is civil rights minded. He is the president of the Southern Christian Leadership Council conference, but the Cobb County chapter. But he's also the senior policy advisor for the Cobb County Democracy Center. So as we're embarking upon our research initiatives, he provides perspective and really connected and respected in the community as far as standing up and understanding what the ebbs and flows are as it relates to I would say all things civics.
Well, here's the thing, right? Sheila Edwards introduced me to you, and I want to give people a background on this. You know, I want to recap. I got to give Sheila her props because she's just been phenomenal in this whole, you know, area. Now, I have interns and I also have mentees. Two things they have to do when they're a certain age. If they're with me within that age group, they must vote. I don't care who they vote for, they got to vote. That's one of the things. And if they're, you know, using this as credits, they better vote. And I need to know that they vote. I need to see the vote sign because I will fail them. Okay, I'm saying it. I will fail them because I don't want. One of my pet peeves is I dislike people who complain and you don't vote. Because in my opinion, if you don't vote, you don't have a voice, right? Now, I've never done this on my show, and well, it's your show today, and I have your stickers, I have your banners, I have everything because I'm so for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? I 100% what you're doing. And then I even have, bam, when I tell you I do my work, I do my work, okay? So we want to make sure everybody is registered to vote, right? Let's talk about the organization because there's such a gap between our brothers and sisters who are not Black or brown, who they vote, and ours, we don't vote. So my question to you is, let's talk a little bit about, okay, I don't vote. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who my commissioner is because it's an education. That's what's needed. And that's the gap has always been someone educating the audience and the basically not just the audience, but the people in the community. And that's where you're filling the gap. What else are you doing? What else is your committee doing in your company, your organization?
So with the Democracy Center, and I'm so glad you brought up Sheila, because through the Spotlight News, we are definitely about empowering people with the truth and standing on that. But with that, we host community forums. We support municipal elections. Our first one, and we're a fairly new entity, just a little over a year and a half old. But we supported the Mapleton municipal elections because we saw that there were maybe a lot of people not knowing that there was an actual election that was taking place, or that they were a part of that. And so from there, I think that that launch was an opportunity to say, you know what, we really need to create some excitement, if you will, and some buzz about municipal. Yes, we've had municipal elections going on for hundreds of years in this, well, over 100 years in some cities in this county. But a lot of times you have less than 15% of those who are registered actually participate. And we want to see that change, because the closer your elected official is to you in proximity, the more impact they have on your day-to-day existence. And I'm going to say that over and over again.
Yes, say it again. Preach it again.
With that local, so being in this space, as we're focusing on Cobb, you know, there are oftentimes you have organizations, and they're great, and we support them all. And one of the things I love is working with like-minded organizations, like the Southern Christian Leadership Conference of Cobb County, like working with we have the Georgia Poor People's Campaign. We work with the People's Agenda, and we really rely on the People's Agenda to help with the registration, because that's their niche, and we want to support people in areas where they stand firm. We work with For Which It Stands on redistricting initiatives. We work with our Divine Nine for to help assist with phone banking and canvassing activities. So all of those things come together to create the excitement. And what we found is the more people that get involved, because it's not about one person. There are 600,000 voters in Cobb County. And when you think about how many people it's going to take to reach out to each of those individuals, communication is critical. And everybody doesn't, some people rely on social media, some people rely on email, some people rely on text. But our goal is to have multiple touches to make sure, and we're just getting started, multiple touches to ensure that we reach out to folks to let them know, hey, there's an upcoming election, or hey, there's a change in legislation, so that we're not only talking about get out the vote, but the vote is just the beginning. It's the carry through, what happens when you vote, what happens after that, how do we know how much our vote is impacting situations, and how can we as a collective voice of people share our concerns about things, whether they're good or bad, share our concerns with those who we put in office to elect us.
Well,
I'm sorry, elected officials to represent us.
That's okay. Again, it's your show, so you don't tell me sorry. This is your show. So basically, I post some things on Nextdoor, and whenever I post things on Nextdoor, I get a lot of reaction and conversation. So one of the questions they wanted me to ask is, in the name of your organization, you have the word democracy. Here's the thing. Because we have those labels, Democrats and Republicans, people automatically assume when they see the word democracy in titles or in whatever you're talking about, that it's solely based for the Democrats. Can you please explain that? Because I was explaining it to some of the people, and I told them, no, just watch the show and you'll hear more about it. So can we talk a little bit about that? Because they need to know that you're not for one or the other. So can you please explain that?
Well, democracy is vested in the people. That's what democracy means. Democracy is ensuring that people are represented, and that's what we at the Cobb County Democracy Center do. We are a nonpartisan local resource. We provide ongoing year-round civic engagement activities and opportunities to achieve meaningful progress on those local and state levels. Now, federal, we work with that as well, but we definitely, I think, where we're finding that we're more, where we come together is on those local and state initiatives. And then, like I said, we offer resources, but we don't offer resources to sway about one party and or another. We don't support particular candidates. we focus on the issues. If you say in the community, hey, healthcare is a concern for me, then we're going to find out what the policies are, and we work with institutions. We have a beautiful partnership with the Georgia Budget and Policy Institute, where they're willing to come and provide educational opportunities to help explain the changes that are taking place in our state as it relates to insurance or Medicaid or and most recently SNAP benefits. So those are the type of things. It's not to say one way or the other, but democracy is for the people. It's about the people, and that's who we focus on, and that's everybody, old, young, black, white, Republican, Democrat, Independent. I don't care about government at all. We represent you. That's who that we're going to fight on your behalf.
You're definitely passionate about this. What stirs you? What stirs the fire? What makes you get up in the morning and do this? Because this is a thankless job. Let's be perfectly honest, right? It can be. What stirs your fire? What makes you want to keep doing this?
It's a call. I truly believe it has been a call. I have met some very like-minded people across the county and across the state, actually, and now we're meeting people, of course, on a national level, because we, as a part of the Democracy Center, there are 3 Democracy Centers in the state of Georgia. We just happen to be the only one in the metro area, but there are 2, one in the Midland and one a little closer, so that they can handle the rural areas of Georgia. But what ignites me is I like to see people win, and I like to see marginalized people win, and I don't like to see oppression take place in any form, shape, or fashion. That's what drives me. I know what it's like to have to feel sometimes that your voice or your vote doesn't matter, and I think that's not a good space to be. And a lot of times people shy away from the election or the political arena because they feel like they don't have a voice. But what we know is, if we focus truly on democracy, our voice is our power, and we have to vote our voice.
I'm going to lead in with this question, but I also want those who's watching this now and in the broadcast, please tap in and answer this question as well, because this is a community affair. This is not just one person or one organization. We need your help. For those of you who don't vote and you're watching, we need you to vote. We're talking about Cobb County in particular, right? So we want your input on this. This is not us telling you what to do. We need your input. So the question I'd like to ask is, do you have any ideas how we can get more brown and Black people to participate in local elections? And for those watching, if you have friends, and maybe you may not be brown or Black, but present this question to your brown and Black friends, because we have to start creating a movement. This is really what it is. This is life or death, whether you want to believe it or not, it is. So we have to, because once you don't vote, you lose your voice. That's it. So Dr. Brown, what do you think? How can we stir up the community to come out? Because you have this passion, and I have it too. You have this passion. How can we get our people to be passionate like us, to come out there and stand 2 or 3 hours and vote, rain or shine, and vote?
So, one of the things that, and this is the thing that I found when the first piece of education is provide facts. And we always start out with a numerical representation of how many people are actually registered to vote, and then how many people vote. And like I said, I've been teaching for a long time, and 90 to 100 is an A, 80 to 90 is a B. And, we don't even want to talk about C's and D's because, my parents didn't raise us to do that. But we're voting as a community, as a whole, like I said, at 70%. That's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. And we're registered. So what we can do is not only talk about, okay, so if you're registered, why not? That's number one. But number two, understanding what everybody has something that drives them. And I've heard people say, well, I don't have time because I got to work these 3 jobs and I have these children to take care of, and I'm working to make ends meet. Well, you the main one that needs to be voting, because that we're talking about economic equity. We're talking about economic justice. And if you don't have any say so in how policies and legislation impact your economics, then you're going to continue to live in the cycle. And sometimes, in order to, if you want different results, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And we can't do that. We have to step into our space. And it's uncomfortable, because I promise you, if you had asked me 3 years ago, would I be as fired up as I am about this? I don't know if I would have been in this space. But the more you learn, and I'm still learning. I mean, I don't have all the answers, but what I will do is I know how to find the answers, and I can find the subject matter experts to help bridge those gaps, to help people identify those areas that are impacting them on the daily. And let's drill down to, who do we need to talk to? Who do we need to engage? A lot of times too, one of the things I would encourage us to do is go to my voter page. It's mvp.sos.ga.gov, and find out if you are registered to vote. It's I'm not going to say it's a simple process, but if you put your name and your address in, if you just take the time and read the page, and if you're around the Democracy Center, you can send us questions anytime. We have something we can walk you through with snapshots of what that MVP SOS page, my voter page, looks like, so that you can find who your elected officials are, so that you can ask those questions. And I think a lot of times it's just having a relationship with our elected officials. They're elected to represent us. They work for our behalf. And some of the representatives that I've met over time have been very, I didn't think about that. I didn't know that. Knight, thank you for telling me. And a lot of times they just want to hear the people's voice. Mm-hmm. But if it's like with any relationship, you can't have a solid relationship if you don't communicate. Communication is okay. So there are going to be opportunities, and one thing about the Democracy Center, we're taking we have people who are working with us who are as young as 11 and old as 82. So we have an intergenerational approach, because democracy is about the people. People come in all shapes and sizes, and so we want to make sure that we're teaching the people first the fundamentals, how to ensure that who's representing you, and then if they're representing you, do they have your voice to stand on when it's time to go to legislative session or on the state level or the federal level? Will they be able to hear you, or on your county board or in your municipal, if you live in a municipality, are they taking your voice into consideration? And if they're not, again, there's both.
You know what to do. So, right. Okay, let me tell you what's going on. So for me, I'm always the one, you got to vote, you got to vote, you got to vote. Then it was getting exhausting. Yes. And think of it that when you put you're cooking something and you put it on the fire and it has to bubble. To be perfectly honest, my fire has been going lower and lower and lower with my enthusiasm talking to the community about voting. But girl, ma'am, after meeting you and Sheila, woo, I'm bubbling again. That fire is coming back, because I felt like, again, I was the only one talking to like-minded people, and then they were being a little bit negative. And I don't want to deal in negativity, because I don't want to hear my voice, my vote doesn't count, and I voted. People have unalived because of you, in order for you to vote, right? And every time I think about someone saying they don't want to vote or they don't like to vote, I think about what Representative Lewis, what he went through, right? So we would be doing our ancestors. Yeah, I'm talking to y'all. This is not Dr. Monica talking. This is me. We're doing our ancestors a disservice by not voting. We're doing our family a disservice by not voting. Don't fall into, my vote don't count, it don't matter. Because here's the thing, when you don't vote and things happen, You have no one else to blame but yourself. So don't sit with your buddies. If you're in a barber shop, talk to your friends about voting. And even if you don't feel comfortable, I done put all her stuff all over my page for you. Here's the Instagram, here's the website. And we're talking about, are you registered to vote? We can bring people to, we can tell you to go vote. We can't bring you to the polls. We can give you the little breadcrumbs. You, as Dr. Brown said, you need to know who your candidates are. I've met so many people that live in my community that have no idea who our county commissioner is. And it's to the point where I am, what word should I use to describe? I get disgusted. I'm not even going to cover it up. I get disgusted. How do you not know who your county commissioner is? How do you not know who your chairperson is? How do you not know who your senators are? But you can stand up online, and this is me. This is a disclaimer. This has nothing to do with Dr. Brown. This is me. But you can be online for the newest Apple phone. You can be online for the new, Air Jordans and all of that, right? It's going to take money. So we have to start including this conversation. Again, we're not talking about Democrat versus Republican. That's when people get riled up and angry and nasty and don't like each other and disown each other. And we saw what happened a couple of elections where people are not even talking to each other. That's not the conversation we're having. We're having honest conversations. People are talking about their water bill. They're talking about their property taxes. Complaining and talking to me is not going to help. You have to start voting. So I'm asking people to get up, get out, and show up and show out. Well, I got to write that down. I like that. See what happens when I'm connected with you, Dr. Brown? I get all smart all of a sudden. Let me put on my spectacles. So, what issues do you feel strongly that voters should pay attention to during the election cycle?
So it's about your values. And a lot of times we vote party lines, but you need to think about voting what's the best for people. Is this going to benefit people? Because our neighbor is depending on us to make the right decisions. And then we have to seek truth. A lot of times, we can't just listen to what a certain just maybe a certain form of media or something. We have to be well-rounded in how we obtain and ascertain our information. I think that is the main thing. And if you say that's not my strength, I don't have time to do that. Well, I would say find an organization like the Democracy Center that will be willing to talk to you in the areas of economic justice, health justice, education justice. There are so many, like I said, the what's going on with redistricting. We're nonpartisan. So, if you feel like the facts are partisan, there's nothing I can do about that. But what we are going to do is stick to the facts. We were meeting. We have a couple of strategies that, like I said, it takes time to reach out to people. It takes time to build trust, and I think as we work together, and that's my ask, is that we work together as a community, as a county. There are some great things. We have some amazing people in this space. I mean, brilliant people that know a lot of information. And they don't mind talking to you about it. They don't mind, but you have to know, if you don't know who those people are, then that's one of the things. We want to be a resource. That's if I could say anything else, not who to vote for, but find out where you stand, and not what somebody else told you, not how somebody else told you how to stand, but really deep down. I mean, really getting real with it and having that mirror conversation. And what is best for me and my family. And I will tell you this. And my husband passed or something, but that's not. But he said he always says one could put a flight 1,000, but with the help of 210. So y'all, if we have 600,000 people that registered vote, and that's just registered voters. I'm just talking about in Cobb alone. imagine what we can do if we come together and we have that each one reach one approach, where we're actually, just encouraging people to participate in the civic space. We have organizers that are working with the Democracy Center who are educators. We have our social media. We have some serious people who are on our team. Our social media person is amazing, and they really are vested in getting out information, and we don't just talk about what we're doing. We're talking about what everybody's doing. We talk about, we also have a connection where we're building our faith initiative, where we can work with various faith groups. Doesn't matter, we if you have a faith, and you're working towards that, and if you're about doing right by people, now that's the bottom line, doing right by people, then we'll work with you. We're vested in empowering people to make solid and strong decisions. Because a lot of times when you drop information, people, I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was going on, and so. We want to get stronger at it. And if you are a person that say, hey, you know what, you guys need to do this, hey, we're open, because we know that if we say we are about the people, then we need to, we as an organization, we have to listen to the voice of the people as well.
So I want the people who are with church groups, leadership, it doesn't have to be a VIP. Let's say you have a small book club, okay? So we're not excluding anyone. Let me tell you, when I got in the room with her and Sheila, I think when we left that room, I think they had to call the fire department, okay? Because that room was blazing when we got done, because the information, number one, the knowledge, right, was wonderful. For me, I left, I think I was floating. I don't know how I got home from there because I was so excited. So here's my question to you. Because again, we have to answer questions, and I don't want people to think, and I want them to leave here understanding it's not Republican, it's not Democrat. It's all about your community. It's all about getting the word out. Remember years ago on MTV, I don't remember if it was Nancy Reagan, I can't remember who it was, when I think the hip hop community got involved in vote, 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 get the vote out, get the vote out. That's what we need to do. We're in Cobb, and we're talking about this in the Cobb County. So the other question I received, and there is any question that I find stupid, and I want you to answer this one. There's any stupid questions, we're here to educate. So one of the questions I got from next door was, when I told them about their county commissioner, they said they don't have to worry about it because the things that were going on in the community, they were talking about specifically about their water bill and their property taxes. They said that two people said that they need to speak to, or they need to contact the President of the United States about that. People obviously don't understand the branches, and it's not, again, I don't want anyone to feel like you're stupid. It's not stupid. There isn't any stupid questions. We're here to educate you, or specifically, Dr. Brown is here to educate you. So when they were talking about it, and I told them I'll talk about this on the platform, their response was they need to get a hold of the White House, to have the White House basically have the conversation about our Cobb County property taxes that has gone up, my water bill that has gone up. So they want conversation on who they should contact regarding that when it comes to voting. So if we can break that down to them, for them to understand it's not the White House.
No, again, this is why local elections are critical. That's why understanding the nuances that go along with how municipalities and or counties, what their cause, what their purpose is critical. I would say if you're paying, and when you get your water bill, it says Cobb County Water. It says that on your bill. There are people within the county that can help you with that information. The more your property taxes, your water bill, all of those things, what your children are learning, all of that is on a county level. and understanding. And I think that's so. As I'm looking at this, we have some students that have just joined. Actually, have 3 college students that have just joined the Democracy Center, and they want to take this information to at Kennesaw State and one at Georgia State. And what we plan to do, I think that's a good project, is for us to, like, if there's a bill and you have a bill, who is responsible? And I think having that will be an awesome resource. Again, we want to provide resources. So I'm glad, you brought that up, because it makes me think, okay, so now when you vote, who's connected to these areas that are in your everyday life? Like right now, our insurance, how much we pay in insurance, our car insurance and premiums and things like that. That is when, a lot of times people, what does a insurance commissioner do? That's what they're doing. They're setting insurance rates for across the state. We have a public service commission. They're responsible for ensuring that we get a solid, what do you call it? We have solid information as a result, as it connects to our water bills, our electricity bills, and things of that nature. And the list goes on. So I think really understanding the role of the local elected officials and what they do and how they connect, that's going to be something that we're going to be creating a visualization for very, very soon. Matter of fact, that's going to be our next project. And like I said, when you talk, that's why it's important for us to come to the community and talk, because sometimes you don't know what you need until you need it.
And, because they felt embarrassed asking the question, because they said, I want to ask a question, because, through next, I want to ask a question, but it's stupid. And it's not stupid. And I do believe that's one of the first things that needs to go out. We need to identify not necessarily who the person is. And they need to know who that person is, but what their duties are, what are their responsibilities are. Because here, these people thought they needed to go to the White House, when we know when you get the bill, it says Cobb County. But again, we're not responsible for what people think. We're just responsible in educating them. So what are the jewels you'd like to drop doing what you're doing? Or what are you seeing that's a common occurrence that needs to be cleared up?
A common occurrence that needs to be cleared up, I would think, is really starting with if you begin with that My Voter page. I'm going to start there. First of all, be registered to vote. Let's start there. But then being registered and not exercising your right to vote that's hurtful in so many ways, because you have the opportunity and then you decide not to take it. And so I think really starting with that My Voter page and studying who your elected officials are. And then take the time to go to their website. What is it that they're doing? Are they telling you what they're doing? Are you connected to their newsletters? I think that's a great way to just begin some base knowledge understanding. And everybody's got somebody different. I know I am in Congressional District 11, and I made sure that I signed up for that newsletter, and it really helps bridge the gap. I think there are several state senators and state house reps who have newsletters. Hey, this is going on. So sometimes we have to seek information if we truly want to understand. I know all of the commissioners have newsletters as well. I don't know about the level, but I know of the commissioners have newsletters, and a lot of them have opportunities where they engage with the community. And I've seen the numbers go down just like everyday engagement. But if there's something that people are riled up about, buddy, that the numbers are going to go up. But we shouldn't have to. It's just like praying. And I know this is, but it's just like praying. We shouldn't just go in prayer when we're in trouble. That should be something that we do all the time. And again, that relationship, we should have a relationship with those who we elect, because regardless if you elected them or not, they're your representative. And if they're your representative, you may not have voted for them, but they still represent you, and you have a responsibility to say, hey, these are my needs, and what can you do to meet them?
And I do have interns who are not brown or black, and when I
Mhm.
have conversations with them about voting, they shut me down. And when they shut me down, I walk away with my tail between my legs, because this is what they tell me: I was raised. This is what I was taught as a child. It's my civic duty to vote. So you don't have to tell. And I've been hearing it more than once, right? And that's what we need to do as parents in our community. It doesn't matter your income level. It doesn't matter where you fall on what side of the tracks or fence or whatever you want to call it, or grass. We have to vote. And I'm going to be honest with you. When she said it, or they said it, I was a little bit impressed. My feelings
Mhm.
was a little hurt too, but I was so impressed by that. So let's get into the meat and potatoes. And the meat and potatoes is absentee ballot voting. Let's get into that. So when can people start registering for that? When is the application? How does this work? Because it was a lot of questions surrounding absentee voting.
Well, you can apply for your absentee ballots now, and you have up until the day of to turn them in. So it's best to now. I know you people want to put them in the mail, but it's best to turn them in early so that they can track them. If you're going to use absentee ballots, if you request it now, they'll send it to you, and it's your responsibility. If you don't hear anything within 7 days, call somebody, let someone know, because you're supposed to get that done. And I was just talking to a head postmaster. He told me specifically, it is their job. They make it a point when, because with those absentee, that everybody has that seal on the envelope. They make it their business to make sure that takes priority over anything else. So there's if you don't trust the system, if you don't trust the mail, take it, get somebody, call somebody, or take it yourself to the new voter registration and election services on oh good, it slips my mind, but it's downtown Marietta, the brand new one,
The
that just,
office.
yeah, the new office,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah. Mhm. So, okay, so here's another thing. Let's say after watching this show, a nonprofit organization reaches out to you and says, "Hey, loving you on that Jackie Charles show, because she's something else, loving you. We want to give you $5 million to help your cause." Where would you put, what three things would you do with the money?
So first thing is to ensure that we have very tight communication platforms, because again, I think that's part of our issue, and we want to be in a place where we can reach people in multiple capacities. And we have postcard teams that are always on it. They want to send out letters, they want to, and they're faithful, but it costs to send material. It costs to get a film crew to come in and actually document information. It costs when you have to, because we don't control the platforms, but we want to make sure that our information goes out to platforms. So that's one thing. But really spending time educating people in various ways. But when we talk about democracy, helping people help themselves, so that would be another way that I would say we work with organizations, subject matter experts, and people who are focusing on policy initiatives. If you say, hey, we have 500,000 people over here who don't have access to health care, some of that money would be to help them, and we know that that's the issue. Then I can't say, oh, I'm gonna pray for you and hope it gets better. That if I had to, if I had the funds, I'm going to help people in the areas where it's most needed. If you can't afford housing, you can't afford these skyrocketing bills, it's something to say, look, hey, now if we help you, but you got to get involved with the process and stand up and be articulate in what it is that you want your these people making these decisions to make, because they don't have to make the decision. If you keep getting a black eye because you go down the same street every day and this person isn't moving, they're in the same place, and when you hit the corner, they're going to hit you in the eye. eventually you need to go down a different street. You need to take a different route.
How are you reaching your voters? Because we have those that are shut in, right? We have the shut ins. Because I want people to see that not only are you using the most bang for the buck, right? Because you're operating on a possibly a shoestring budget.
Oh, very much so.
Right. This is what this is your passion. Because what I want people to understand, you go to college because you want to empower yourself to get a better job, right? Even if you don't go to college, you go to trade school, but you still, the whole gist of it, you want to have a better job so you can be self-sustaining, take care of your family. Okay, the doctor tells you you need to do something, you lose weight. Why? Because you want to live a healthy lifestyle, you want to do things. We know when you get up, there's routines that you do. So not only are you empowering your area or your life, voting also helps to empower you. So I'm just trying to show y'all, you go out there, you go to college and okay, fine, I need to get this degree or certificate. I'm gonna do it because I want to make that extra $20,000, right? Mm-hmm. What sense does it make you're doing that? But the people who are in office, because you didn't vote, decided, okay, property taxes need to go up, this needs to go up. It's going to be frustrating. And I want people to understand you have to vote. Find out if your friends vote. It's okay to ask. We're not asking about political parties. We're just asking you to ask your friends. We have to start having these conversations because look, I'm going to keep saying this, and forgive me. No, don't forgive me. I'm going to keep saying it. My property tax not me until last year when I opened up the bill, right? My water bill, I just could not believe it. So now I'm more cognizant. And I think when it comes to voting and talking about things, I'm pretty savvy. But after meeting you, baby, I got my PhD, okay? Because it's important, and I want the community to understand this is a gentle touch, but it's so important. So many people are up for election, and we just got to educate ourselves. So what are the basic needs that we need to prepare for every election season? Because people don't understand. They wait probably to the last minute. I know people when they get to the polls, I know because they've told me, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
So the first thing I would tell everybody to make their plan to vote. And in that plan to vote, always check your voter registration status. There have been several hundreds of thousands of, it's like 100 or so thousand people in the past month or so that have been redacted from the voter rolls. So we want to make sure that first of all, you are, if you were eligible, that you remain eligible. And what they've said is vote in, like if you have a municipal election, if you haven't voted in the last 2 elections, this is the time to vote. So the more you vote, you don't have to worry about losing your voter status if you vote on a consistent basis. So I would say if you're registered, please exercise your right to vote. Next thing is know your dates. Like I said, voter registration ends for the 2023 election cycle. That ends on October the 10th. So if you're not registered to vote, or you were registered to vote but you're no longer active based on what the My Voter page says for you, just re-enroll. It's that simple. Re-enroll. Get reactive. So that's October the 10th. October 16th in Cobb County, that is the first day of early voting, and we'll have those. We'll be posting those early voting dates closer to time, because if you post it too soon, people will forget. So we want to make sure that they'll know where they can vote ahead of time for those municipal elections. And it's like
name the 5 municipal elections. People could know, please.
Worth, Austell, Kennesaw, Powder Springs, and Smyrna.
You freezed up a bit. Can you repeat that, please?
Yes. The municipal elections are taking place this year in Cobb. 2023. There's it's Ackworth, Austell, Kennesaw, Powder Springs, and Smyrna. Marietta is not voting. They vote next year for all of their seats, the mayor as well as their city council. And Mapleton just had there's 7 cities in Cobb, and so Mapleton just had their past elections in March. They had a special election in March. So making a plan to vote, knowing those dates. We register to vote. Registration ends October the 10th. Early voting begins October the 16th. Right now, we're scheduled to have and to come alongside. We have some dates that we're still working on, but right now we've solidified October the 10th to support the Kennesaw municipal elections, as well as October the 5th to support the Powder Springs municipal elections. And we'll be meeting with Austell, individuals from Austell. We're still working on Ackworth and Smyrna, just trying to get the logistics down pat, but to let them know that we're here to support their endeavors. We're not trying to take over, but we definitely want to support, because it's about getting the vote out. You asked another question earlier, and I want to answer. How can we get engaged? We have fun. We're different in the sense that we have the only nonpartisan phone banking system that is actually located in Cobb County. So when we're reaching out, again, we're talking about our civic duty, but we're also we can use the phone bank for various community initiatives. We have access to that. Again, that comes with cost, but if we have it, we're going to use it. We also have texting capacity, as well as canvassing. I just spoke with the canvas, the gentleman who's cutting the turf, and so we already have turf that's cut in Cobb for across the Cobb in areas where voters have not, don't generally participate more than 50%. And when I say participate, I'm talking about the number of people who vote versus against the number of people who are actually registered in those areas. So we really do a lot of canvassing, but canvassing takes time. So voters are welcome. As long as we, stay on the same page, and we have to, of course, messaging is important, but we want to make sure that we exercise and utilize those tools to reach out. Again, communication, to let folks know what's going on.
What can the Women Are Worthy Network, what can we do? Because we're definitely going to send the information out. What else can we do? And I want you to answer that question as if someone else said, well, we like this. It's just me and my husband. I have no children. Someone out there like, well, what can we do? Because I want everyone to be fired up. I want y'all to be fired and stirred up. Okay. The life that you save may be your own. And I mean that. Okay. So what can someone who's watching this like, woo, I'm liking this lady's passion. What can they do to help?
So you can always reach out to us and me directly, Monica at centerforcommonground.org. Or you can go to our Instagram or Twitter platforms at Cobb Democracy, just like you have on the Instagram at Cobb Democracy, and send us a message, or we'll try to keep in the bio ways to volunteer. We'll have our volunteer link listed there, so ways that you can get involved. Or if you and you can just say, and it's a form. Once you click on that link, there's a form, and you can say, hey, I don't want to call anybody. I don't want to do any. I just want to. I'll just say, hey, in my own circle, because it doesn't have to be broad. But if each one reach one, if we say, hey, I'm just going to make sure that my family is engaged, we're cool with that too. But we just want to make sure that everybody has the information. Many voices saying the same thing. Many voices singing the same song. And when you have many voices singing the same song, it doesn't matter if you can sing or not. It sounds good. It sounds so good.
And soothing. So, okay, let me talk about the website. So when I met Dr. Brown, I said, okay, she sounds great. Let me see what else. I went on the website, and I'm when it comes to website and social media, I'm tough. I went on the website. It was so informative. Most importantly, it was easy to maneuver. It was easy, the access, the signing up, if that's what you want to do, the education. And, that's why I got to have, I'm very impressed, because if your website is not catching me the first couple of minutes, even the colors, but people don't care about colors. It's about the information. So I found the website, just like the Women Are Worthy Network, entertaining, excuse me, empowering, and informative. So I wanted to give whoever created that website, excuse me. I was getting so excited. I'm getting perched. Excuse me. So that'll be edited out. But I just want to say thank you for all that you're doing. Is there anything else you want to tell the listeners and the viewers before we sign off?
Let's stick together, y'all. We can do this. We can empower one another. And we just really appreciate the opportunity. I really appreciate Sheila connecting us so that we could come be connected to the Women of Worthy, because I see great things. It's just like friends. We know, you know, if you, in order to be a friend, you have to show yourself worthy. You know, to have a friend, you have to be a friend. And what we want to do is make sure that we are consistent and being there and supportive for our community. Our team is growing, and if you'd like to join in any capacity, we'd love to have you. And you can and trust me, there are so many people who intersect across the board for they're belong to different organizations. So it's about democracy. It's for everybody. So if there's something that you're passionate about, you say, hey, I like to talk about this, then you know we can build it out. It's for the people. It's for us, by us. So it's what we created and what we want it to be, and empowering voters, especially those who you know don't necessarily exercise. That's where we want to get stronger. So we have a survey that'll be coming out at the end of the week. Just doing a couple of finishing touches so that we can hear the voice of the community, because again, how can you plan if you don't know what people are saying? So we'd encourage everybody. It would be great if we had 600,000 voters in Cobb. It'd be great to have at least 10% to participate in this survey. So
well, look, whatever we need to do, because I've never met a challenge I haven't, you know, succeeded in. This is what we need to do. We got to get people to get, you know, to answer the survey, to show up at the polls. And again, with the absentee ballot, don't just mail it in, show up.
Yeah, when we have a please come. And if you say, hey, I want to do an event, but I may not necessarily know how, or I may not necessarily have, you know, the dollars and the resources, we sure will help you. We surely will.
And she's giving, I have to say that she doesn't keep the information to herself, because I asked her about other things, and because we're establishing a relationship, so to speak, and it's all about relationship building. She's helped me along the lines of other things. So it's not just voting, other information. So by me gleaning in, I'm learning a lot from her, you know, her and Sheila, because I look at them as subject experts. So I'm learning a lot, so I can go out into the community and give the information. I'll sit in the classroom with them, as I call it, the classroom. And then I'm the one going out, you know, facilitating the information. Well, first of all, let me say this. I want to thank you for being so gracious with your time, because I know you and Dr. Williams are extremely, and Sheila, are all over the place. And when I mean all over the place, I'm not talking about chaos. And if there's chaos, they have organized chaos. Okay. So I just want to thank you for doing what you're doing, because it's not an easy job. It's not. And the fact that you three don't look at this as a job, you look at this as your calling. Dr. Williams and Sheila, you guys, you know, look at this as a calling, because you want everyone to have what we all want, the American dream. Mm-hmm. You want to pay your bills. You want to be able not to just make enough. You want to go on vacations. You want to live that, at least take that stress off of you. And by voting and getting the people that you want into office, that's what it's doing, because it's basically, it's not the party. It's, let me see what your platform is all about. And then if I can, you know, so I like that. That's what you're doing. And I respect it. And I want to thank you. I want to give you your flowers. Now, we almost don't give people such as yourself their flowers. So, you know, we at the Women Are Worthy want to give Sheila, want to give Ben, you know, I hope he takes flowers. You know, I hope it's not a guy thing, you know, but, you know, we want to give him his flowers too. And again, we want to thank you. This is not just a one-off. We hope to interview you again or be a part of what you're doing, because it's important to me, you know, and it doesn't matter how old you are, because we still have future generations that we have to watch, you know, and help and let them see what we're doing. So Dr. Brown, again, I want to thank you. Everyone, I've posted everything about her. So we see the Instagram, we see their website. Go at least learn before you want to criticize, because we have some out there that just want to criticize. If you're not voting, you know, as far as I'm concerned, your noise doesn't matter to me if you're not voting. Go out there and vote. Show up, show out. That's what we're asking you to do. Answer the survey. Whenever you see Dr. Brown out, get involved in whatever she's doing. As she said, teach from we have to get the information. Again, sharing is caring. So without further ado, because I can go on and on, because I'm just loving this segment, I can go on and on and on. Okay, so without further ado, we want to thank everyone for tuning into the Women Are Worthy Network. We want to thank Dr. Brown. We want to thank Dr. Williams. We want to thank Sheila for facilitating all of this, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have known. So I have to give her props as well. We want to thank everyone again. Please, 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 for the love of God, Cobb County, show up. 70%. Come on, man. We got to do better than that. 70%. Come on now. Answer the survey. Let's start with that. And then you could talk about your water bill, your gas bill, and all that. But if you ain't voting, I don't want to hear it. So we want to thank you. Namaste. Thank you. We wish you abundant blessing in everything that you three touch. Everything that you touch. Bye. Don't go yet. You've just been amazing. I just love what you're doing. It's just been amazing.
Oh my gosh, and so I see you hosting some events soon.
Wait a minute.